Oh my God!
So what's
Holy
up,
Christ!
everybody?
Wally from Scotland, no less. All right,
Wally
love it.
from Scotland,
From Scotland, I'm from Germany now. Yeah, apparently.
right? I haven't been to Europe in early 2013. It's the last time I've been out there. So
Military something you done?
that's when I was
No.
coming back from Afghanistan. Yeah.
Right. So you make a hop, skip, and a jump from
Hop, skipping the jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't I've only stopped in Germany once, all those deployments, and it was real quick. We didn't even get off the plane. They just refueled, and then we went to no, that was on the way. So we went from Germany to Italy,
Mm-hmm.
Sudabe, or no, Sudabe's Crete, Vicenza, Sudabe to Djibouti.
This is when we break out Google Maps and just so
Right.
that people know where these places are. Because you can just be, it's a town outside of Muscuda, Illinois, you know?
Right. So Muscuda is a small farm town, 35 miles east of St. Louis. It's basically, they used to have a Scott Air Force Base, feeder city. It's where a lot of the airmen live there for sure. Didn't they used to have a coal mine out there too somewhere? I'm pretty sure.
If Albers was nearby there by 10 miles, I'm sure that whole vein. If not, there was a tunnel underneath Muscuda for sure. So
yeah, and then there was closer to Columbia, there was a mine, which is another 10 minutes the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the grandpa I'm going back to see. He was a coal miner for many, many years. I can't remember which one. Yeah, because I think when we were in high school, a lot of those coal mines were in the process. They were already shut down, or they were in the process of shutting down.
So, my understanding was there's too much sulfur in the coal. So whenever there was some new government thing or whatever, that they said, okay, you can't have sulfur mines. And I don't know, we've had a teacher who said that's the reason why he left the Albert mines and so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's a true story or not, that as much as like you're a useless bastard and you're not a teacher. That could be another story. But
well, I know for the scavenger hunt one year, I think it was my junior year, we ended up at that one of the mines. I was driving the 87 Camry with the trailer, and we had already taken a bunch of stuff. Like we were already looking pretty good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Mermaid House sign, which I returned later promptly.
Now, one thing I questioned in my head was like, do I own all the cars I've been through in my life? You probably wrecked the same amount, if not more.
I think so. I'd imagine so. And I know you've been there with me for at least one or two wrecks.
Yeah. The number in my head is 7. I think you've wrecked 7 cars.
I think I've wrecked 7. I think I've probably been through 14 or 15 though. That were mostly my fault, you know.
Okay.
Because remember, I want to say my first 3 vehicles were hand-me-down minivans. But the first one was that stick shift minivan with the Mitsubishi 4-cylinder engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it was stupid. I wish I had that now, though. You know what I mean? Like that would be kind of cool to have now. It's like, wow, you can sleep in the damn back inside, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I was watching a YouTube today about a guy who like camps out in his U-Haul. He rents out U-Haul some places and then just like flat out like tries to live in like difficult climates. If he was Canadian, he's just like, I'm in negative 40 degrees Celsius and this is how I live in the back of a U-Haul. Good for you. Okay.
So I have a whole kitchen set up in my 4Runner.
Okay.
Like slide outs and stuff, and then I have a rooftop tent. And it is still fun to get out with the kids because for the duration that I keep that on the car, because it's like super loud with wind and stuff, it's like it is really convenient just to pick up and go for the weekend. All you need to do is really pack a cooler. Everything else is already there. You just like we went out last year into West Virginia, and it was freezing cold. So we just closed the tent windows.
Okay.
And I like my Marine Corps cold weather survival sleeping bags because it's like those will work. No, it was way too much. It was so hot. It was like a sweat pit. I was like, what hell did I enter in this cold ass West Virginia?
I was gonna ask you, like in your, I know you put probably like twice as many miles on vehicles that I have, if not three times more.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever traveled, like driven past like Kansas City, or outside of like going to an airport? I mean, have you like driven cross country that way? Okay.
Yeah.
The thing in my head is like I don't like driving past Kansas City, that part of the country, because I can understand it'd be like 200 miles before you see anything, right? So it's one of those like, okay, this car breaks down, and I've gone through some significant car issues where the engine has blown or
leaving my house. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I get stuck in Ohio in the middle of nowhere at the call AAA, and then that's like they drop you at a hotel, and you hope wherever they drop your car at is a licensed mechanic that can handle your car.
Right.
And then the pandemic hits, and then you won't get your car for like another 5 months, which is what happened. But that's okay.
That I probably drive triple the average driver. Anyway.
Right.
So my 2022 4Runner has, I'm very close to 70,000 already.
Right. But you've had cars that made like 300,000.
Oh yeah. Miles, so the Tundra had 379,000 when I traded it in for the 4Runner.
Wait, you traded it in actually for a dollar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't have carpet anymore. Like the kids destroyed it. First the Marines destroyed it, and then the kids destroyed it.
The crayon users. Yeah.
The crayon eaters, like I had like 800 miles on it, and I went down to a different unit. I went down to the unit in Johnson City, Tennessee, and I knew some of the guys, and we were all friends. And if Josh actually covered this for the Army, but it's a little different for the Marines. It's called Click and Clock. Company level intel cell, company level operation cell. So you teach infantry guys basic intel. So all these guys are kind of wild. They're all polyglots and bilingual, trilingual, But they're just like, hey man, like let's go get lunch. We know the places down here. I'm like, yeah, get in. They're like, can you fit 6? I'm like, of course I could fit 6. Let's fit 6. And like literally right off the bat, guys got a 40-ounce soda from like Motomart, and it just I'm like, just like motherfucker. One of us like, can I smoke? And then he like dropped the cigarette, and then he didn't really say anything. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of burnt a giant hole. And I'm like, guys, I've only had the car for like this short amount of time, and you guys just fucked it up. Like the whole back seat's fucked up. Like, what's your damn problem? They're like, I don't know, just get new carpet.
Yeah, like, I question that. It's like every public bathroom you've probably ever been into has like some weird violation of like human decency, right? And it always question is like, when does a person go from like being civilized to like say like, I'm just gonna trash everywhere I go for a period of time because I'm traveling or something like that.
It's like artists do that. Who's that guy who he was Jack Sparrow?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Yeah, he got arrested a few times, right?
Yeah, but he's an artist, and he goes to places, just completely destroys whatever environment he's in, and he pays for it. Same with like Marilyn Manson, apparently. Like Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson.
Where I can't memorize simple facts, so Wikipedia. Yeah,
well, they destroy it, but they pay for it. Whereas Marines destroy it and they don't do anything. Like I'd rather have Johnny Depp over and destroy this office, and he basically personally pays for it to get rebuilt. That'd be great. Sure, right?
Because you're going to get everything new. That's fantastic.
If you have a Marine over, they just destroy, and there's no attempt to fix.
I mean, the worse shit than this, somebody else has to enjoy it, right?
Well, that happened in high school. Whenever my parents would leave and we'd have those parties, like Adam's girlfriend and what's up, Georgia? Adam's girlfriend and this couple other people, they destroyed my parents' bathroom, right? Like they broke the toilet and they ripped the sink off the wall. And so, luckily, it was at the beginning of them leaving, and Adam and I were like, "We can fix this. We know what to do."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but it still costs a shit ton of money.
Home Depot is much easier to give you guides now. You can fix those teenage disasters. They had it.
Back
People are
then,
so lucky. Teens are so lucky these days.
Oh yeah, we just kind of knew
how to reattach a sink.
Well, now like kids just have allowances in their parents' credit card, so it's like, the sink broke, and it's like, back then it would have been like, we're never taking a trip ever again. Fuck off. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Your mom moved to the place where she worked, right? They're not in that same house in Highland.
Well, as you know, my mother passed away in March of 2020.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry.
But my dad's still there. He hasn't. That's where I'm going for Christmas in theory.
Okay.
It's gonna be a little bit weird this year. It's like non-pandemic. Let's figure out Christmas. Last year was Southwest Airlines kind of canceled a bunch of flights for some people. So
right.
But we started a new tradition last year. It was called the Rakers Rockers Christmas Pub Crawl. So we go through Highland and Clinton County and like Trenton.
Sure.
Trenton, Breeze. We go to different bars here and there. And
I wonder if that Elvis place is still there in Trenton.
I don't know.
There's I thought I was permanently barred. I'm not even sure if it still exists
anymore. It's probably like any restaurant or bar has probably got new management since
right.
So, new management, new ownership. I'm sure.
You would imagine
consolidating. I've heard of like restaurant chains in the area, like different places that would just like merge together, or like some guy decided to invest and buy out. So like,
well, the only one that really hasn't changed is probably Breeze. Well, let's say Clinton County.
Yeah,
hasn't really changed much.
Breeze has a couple traffic lights now. I mean,
they have the ones downtown, but yeah, they have some other ones now too. But like Wally's is still there. Dairy Queen is still there.
Dairy King.
Sorry,
Dairy King.
The bowling alley. That's kind of right next to Wally's, or right down there. I met up with Laura Peters there. Her kid was born. Okay. I guess that was in springtime. Yeah.
She's married, had 5 kids, and doing fine.
I think 4. I think
4.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're one of her.
Make her sound like real serious trash. Yeah, she only had 4 kids.
Her oldest is joining. We talked. He's seriously thinking about joining the Air Force, and I was like,
okay.
He's in it. Like, hey man, you're into games. It's like, dude, what are you going to do in Breeze, Illinois? Right. Yeah. And even if you join the reserve and then you're stationed at Scott, right? Use your GI Bill, go get a degree, and then go. Yep. And then once you get your degree, go be an officer and get the hell out of Southern Illinois. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey man, you're not like the other people here. You're kind of like me. There's something more for you out there. If you don't do it, do it. If you're going to do it, do it now while you're young. Get it out of your system. I've been trying to I'm like, hey dude, don't worry about it. It's not the Marine Corps. Okay. And his dad was Army, and his dad's kind of a piece of shit. Right. There's no other nice way to say it. But it's like he's not joining the Army because he doesn't want to be like his dad. I'm like, also don't join the Marine Corps. It's like, I love the Marine Corps and it made sense for me. It doesn't make sense for you. There's the opportunities that you're looking for don't exist there. I was telling you, the hardest part about being an Intel pro in the Marine Corps is having to be a Marine. Oh shit, Biff's here. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, hopefully y'all can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Cool. Just doing that last minute stuff before the holidays. So if I cut in and out, I apologize.
Hey, no problem.
We were just saying how useless this holiday was. So
yeah. So we're going to my parents are here. They're staying at my sister's, and they're coming with us to my brother-in-law's, and it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be a pretty packed house, but it'll be all right. It's a
cool,
pretty cool people. Yeah.
Everyone travel okay, Wally?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
my dad was in a plane that crashed in Vietnam, or it made a crash landing in Guam, leaving Vietnam. Like 3 engines were on fire, and
Oh wow.
so he likes to drive across the country, and he's more than happy to not take a plane. So
Yeah.
but they're getting up there in age, so they've
Yeah.
flown a couple times now, and it actually went pretty well. So
Yeah, it's one of those things I've been thinking about. Like, I don't think I want my dad to travel to Chicago, even though it's like not that far away.
yeah,
It's just like, no. I have a
It's-
niece
it's-
wedding in Maine next year, and the question is how they travel. I also am questioning my travels. So, yeah.
I mean, I drove all my travels out west. I did I had 3 kids in a Prius. I had a roof
Right.
rack on the Prius.
Oh wow.
I had a a receiver extension. I put a basket on the back so I could carry more stuff, because Priuses actually get pretty small with 3 kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had extra power put in, all sorts of stuff. But it's actually, if I was alone, a Prius would be a great car to use. And like, I'm not a Prius guy at all, but hey, credit where credit's due. That's you can really stretch out the gas mileage on those things.
Oh, dude, I love. What's it? We just picked up a brand new Pacifica hybrid, and like when it's not cold, I'm getting like 1,900 miles to a tank of gas. So
No shit.
yeah, because it's plug-in, and the electricity out here isn't super crazy. So like it actually went into a mode where it was doing like a fuel recycling mode or whatever, where you had to either add 4 gallons of gas, or like it would burn it down to like the empty, because it needed to make sure that it was like fuel and oil. I'm blanking on the
Mixture.
but yeah, it was basically to make sure that the engine had gotten hot enough for long enough that it burned out any moisture in the oil, and
So it's forcing itself to run, because it has to move the fluids around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So fuel and oil recycling mode form. That's what it was.
That's kind of cool. I'm hearing of that.
Yeah.
Our buddy Paul has a Volt, and he drives.
Ooh. Yeah.
He drives he probably drives, I bet it's 30 miles from his home to his office. He owns Osage County Guns in Wright City, Missouri. He's only filled up the tank one time.
Oh,
because
wow.
he can make it there and back on battery for the most part. So
that's awesome. Yeah. We were shooting for 2,000 miles to a tank, but we just didn't get there. So yeah, but yeah, we charged it up overnight. It's got about a 35 mile range on the battery, and then so we get the kid to daycare in the morning, come back, we work. By the time we go to pick him up, it's charged, and it's wonderful.
you have like is it so like, could you charge yours with a Tesla charger? Is it the same plug-in mechanism?
There's a couple of malls around here that have got like the free EV charging. So I think it's like the standard. It's got like 3 larger prongs and like 3 smaller prongs in there. I don't know the connector type exactly. It's like a J1776 or something like that.
So it's not necessarily universal.
I don't think so.
Did you watch
honestly? Yeah.
Did you watch Elon on Joe Rogan talking about why you only charge to 80% in like a Tesla?
No.
I had done some research, but he explained it, and he's a genius, but he explains it in dummy man's terms, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, you have ions, positively, negatively charged, right?
Sure.
Once you get past 80%, he's basically saying they can real easy for them to find their spot. They have to go find a spot. They have to go sit there. And after 80%, it takes the same time. From 80 to 100, it takes the same time as 0 to 80 to charge. That's why they only charge, because if the ions have to really figure out where they're going to go within the cells. So I was like, oh,
Interesting.
I was like, no shit, fucking physics
Really hard
class.
game of musical chairs. Yeah. So
Right.
it's,
Yeah,
Musical chairs.
spot.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sort of sounds like if you had like a multi-layer sifter or whatever, and you just have like all the holes fill up as you're sifting, so you get all the stuff filling up, and then the last bits have okay, nice.
And I never understood why they didn't use a very small diesel engine for the hybrids, right? Because they're exceptionally efficient. They can run and idle basically, right?
Yeah.
At fractions of a gallon per hour. It just
that would be really smart. Layout. When I was in Scotland last year, I was able to. There's this like a Nissan All Trail that was stick shift diesel, and we were getting like 50 miles a gallon with that. So I can just imagine a little small little diesel engine. Hell, that'd be great.
And I'll wait for MJ. I've had a thought for years, right? And you're old enough, and I know MJ is, that it will kind of make sense to you guys too. But I'll wait for him to get that. Hey, MJ. So remember the 80s and 90s? If you had a bicycle, you could get that little light with that little flip thing that went on the tire.
Yeah, dynamo or whatever.
Dynamo lights. Like, okay, technology's come a long way. There should be a way you could dynamo a system within the transmission or the wheel housing or something that, like on Priuses, it only happens when you brake, but you already have momentum and you already have forward motion, right? So it's the same concept, right?
Waste the spin wheel, basically, or
Of some sorts to power, because it seems like sure eventually you would have to have plug-in because you can't generate as much power as you need, but you can generate some, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's been bouncing around in my head for years. It's like, why can't the car charge itself while it's driving? Right? It's just with gear ratios and everything. I mean, you could do it with essentially almost no drag, and no velocity loss. But I guess it's too complex. But maybe there's more money in the charging station. Yeah.
Well, or it could be that the voltage supplied. I don't know what sort of voltage loss you have between it being generated and it being stored, if there's any voltage loss there, right? And because I know that on my van, if I'm going straight, or even going like downhill, I'm actually charging like if I'm doing like 60 to 80 miles an hour going down a hill, the charge indicator is showing that I'm actually charging the vehicle. But I'm curious, like, if there'd be a way to increase the charging density of the electromagnets.
I mean, I think magnets would be the smart way because you'd have one, just like how we generate power from a coal plant, right? You have, copper interior spinning around a steel core, right? Or vice versa, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One's static and one's spinning, right? So you could do that on a car. Your wheel's already spinning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, it's much more complex than that.
Yeah.
It seems like in the future it's going to be possible to charge your own car from the car on some level.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought like a hydrogen fuel cell type thing where you basically you have a reaction that you could if there'd be a way to generate electricity and have it be stored through this reaction, but you could basically just keep refilling it, right? Like if and maybe you initially get a charge where it takes like 6 or 8 hours for it to come up, and then you use the battery, and then it slowly refills. Again, I don't know if that's even possible. But...
Oh yeah. So the Archimedes screw, what was that? That was Romans. Romans used that for pumping water uphill.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The first thing they discovered was water finds its own level. They used lead, which is probably a bad idea all around. But
They
Yeah.
lived till 40. They were okay. They were
They lived
doing
to
better
40.
than Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right now there's Somalis don't even live that long. You know? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there was a car I've been looking at. It's called the Aptera. It's supposed to be a solar powered piece of crap, whatever. That would be simply plug in charge that could get you about 50 miles for your daily commute, and that's like the plan. It's like, okay, here's your daily commute car, right? And they think that they can eventually get to some range, whatever. That's just literature that they're putting out there or whatnot. But like battery and the ability that even if you're stranded, you can get recharged in some capacity. So,
and they have that one that runs on compressed air because all engines
right,
run on compression.
right.
I thought that one was pretty smart. It was just a couple cylinders, a super light carbon fiber body.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. I don't think it got off the ground. I know they had a pretty cool proof of concept in London for it. But yeah, I found something pretty cool today.
Okay.
It's called Parrot AI. The Parrot.
Okay. Parrot AI.
So I'm going to share my screen and just show one little. I'm going to show one little example. So for everybody who's watching, like, yeah, this is going to be the only thing that we have here that's like, I guess you could say Kaiser related or whatever,
If that, yeah.
because fuck that guy. But actually, you know what? I'm just going to pull. Let me see. Delete recording.
I get the addiction, but I don't get
So-
the addiction at the same time. It's weird in my head.
Sorry, I just got my pie, but I put a link in the back chat for.
Okay.
There was recently a solar powered SUV that made it across Morocco, which I thought was pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
I think I caught that one. Yep.
Here, I'll just pull that up first. I'm gonna. Okay.
Sorry, I figured y'all did not need to hear phone calls and people yelling in the pie shop.
That is pretty cool. World's first off-road solar SUV drove across Morocco.
Yeah, like if you could get some like crazy charging capabilities from your solar panels across your roof, and then maybe a combination of that with your wheel electromagnetic idea. I mean, that you could go a long ways.
Like the one thing Elon talks about now, I don't know, maybe it's just based on the current technology, right? But like the sun per square meter or something like that is a essentially a delimited amount, right? So there's only so much power you can get per that surface area, and that's delimited. But I don't even know where that is. But it looks pretty cool. I like that back comes up for like extra charging.
Right.
I wonder why they chose Morocco. I mean,
Sun.
It's sunny.
I mean,
The sun exists.
well, it's sunny everywhere except for Germany. It's always Germany and the UK. It's like the only two places it's not sunny.
I mean, I assume because it's a combination of sunny and rugged terrain that they could go up and down.
I mean, not a bad place for a proof of concept, right? Because it's not just flat. You do have like this picture here where they're in the mountains, obviously. And it's not a paved road. It's just like the Rivian. Like I went to the Overland Expo last year in Virginia, and we got to check out the Rivians. You can sit in them. They'll drive you around. They have this big test track they build, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, no, it's super cool." And and people are like, "Well, like here's the thing, man. Like I have 2 gas tanks on my 4Runner, and then I carry another 200 gallons of fuel with me, right? So how am I going to repeat that with this system?" They're like, "Oh, well, blah blah blah, we have this battery pack." it's good for like an 80% charge once. It's like, oh, okay, so I'm going to die in the woods and get eaten by a bear. Like, no.
Well, to answer your earlier question, Stella Terra making an impression in Morocco. So it shows Morocco as a place to be like, okay, here's a proving ground. We can go up and down mountains. We can give you all these scenic pictures. We can prove our concept. Give us investor money so we can put this out live, right? So, yeah, that's it, not to mention it's on CNN.com as a travel thing. So they probably wasted all that money in promotions so far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean that's what this still good guy Aptera that I was looking at earlier was they're trying to make a 30K vehicle. We'll see if they get there. But I'm a buyer.
It sounds cool. It just right now, like even a Tesla wouldn't work for me. You know.
Yeah. Well,
it's just,
yeah. I could. I mean, I know how many people go to your local Walmart, Wally.
Yeah.
Can you imagine all those people like trying to fight over the two power stations that are probably there right now?
I think they just rebuilt that. It's pretty decent now, but yeah, it's always full.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of Teslas here. A lot of people do drive Teslas. I test drove one before I bought the 4Runner, and they are stupid fast. They're preposterously fast, right? And
but I mean, I've looked into it. It's like I got to redo my entire electrical in my house in order to get a decent enough power station to power or charge this thing. And at that point, I might as well like try to figure out some way to segue the cost by getting panels and other things to generate electricity into some big battery unit, which is also probably, I mean, like I seen when I was shopping for cars in 2022, there was a lot of listings for electrical vehicles, but I don't think people realize, oh, by the way, you need to buy this big battery unit and redo the electricity in your household. That would cost anywhere between $15,000. Oh, maybe you live in an apartment complex. Good luck with that.
Right. Yeah. Shit. Did I freeze over here? Nope. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of if I had, so like at my parents' farm, we've got like 80 acres or whatever, and if I'm trying to convince my dad to get some solar panels on the barn because it's just sitting there, and because it'd be really cool to be able to go off grid, not have to worry about paying someone for power if things go kind of pear-shaped, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a vehicle that you don't have to worry about getting gas for. You just, if it takes a day to charge or 2 days to charge, okay, cool, that's fine. I still can mosey my butt, where I need to go.
My brother has a huge solar array at his Illinois property, at his house. And he's got geothermal. He's got everything, and like 5-acre lot. It's a beautiful, beautiful home.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, hey man, so what'd you pay for this? And I'm thinking Virginia prices. I'm like, what was this, like $850, $950 in Illinois? He's like, what? He's like, no. He spent like $240,000 for everything, including buying the lot. And I'm like,
wow.
And I'm like just filled with anger and hate, because I'm like, my in-unit 3-story townhouse with a detached garage, $500,000. Now it's worth like $758. By the time I'm ready to sell, I'll have $400,000 in equity,
which is awesome.
Which is great, but it's just,
you sell now. Where do you go to next and pay for that premium?
Interest rate's high, so there's no point moving. It's better just to fix and repair and modernize what I have. That's one of the things a bunch of the neighbors have done is they put in they do put a 220 in the garage. They put the Tesla battery wall system. The wall battery, it's there. They have a charger in the garage. That's raising the value of the house a good $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah.
And then it appeals to basically everybody here.
Does that wall system also act as a surge protector for the house, or is that just for the garage?
It depends on this. It depends on the system you get. So you can get a solar system, and that also can be one of your battery storage, right? Your energy storage, because it'll charge during the day, and then it'll, But it's a lot of them are just connected to the grid, so just for charging the car, which is just as appealing.
Nice.
So I am going to show this kind of kick-ass program I found. Let me share my screen real quick. Now, I don't know a lot about it yet, but it's free. Okay. So basically, here's what you do. You download a video of any sort, right? Or you download anything of any sort, whether it's, recordings, pages, anything. Zoom meetings where you have the record function. You can put that in here. And the cool thing about it is gives you the description of the video, the date of the video, and then it actually segregates the speakers. So not just the people who are live, if we were recording this and then we put this in here, we can annotate speaker one's Wally from Scotland, speaker two's that guy named MJ with Stevie, Biff Thunder Muffin, right?
Yeah.
And then it transliterates actually pretty well throughout the whole video, right?
That is
now
super cool.
Also down at the bottom, let me scroll down quite a bit. Potential actions. So this is kind of geared for meetings, right? So it's like it learns. It's an AI. It's also machine learning, and it also does CNN, cognitive neural network. So it's thinking about. It's treating it like a meeting. So it's giving you an estimate on what you could do better or things you could address in the future. So I think that's really cool too. So. And even it says seek legal advice regarding possible unlawful detainment and violation of constitutional rights during the incident. And then it has you a little tick mark so you can click, and then you can open the link to that part of the video. And then this is like a frauditor video over here, or an auditor, right? And it takes you to that part based on what it's learned from the internet.
Oh, wow.
So, and this is that same system where I was saying, remember I asked people about keywords, and I actually got some of the keywords. Like some people out there, if you're in the crowd right now, and I'm not looking at the comments right now, but if you guys are out there, thanks for that, because that really makes a big difference with AI. They're called tokens. We've talked about them before. Token is just a digital representation of language, right? So keywords, things that people say, are their mannerisms. I can take that mannerism, I can turn it into a token. I can use the token to teach the AI or the machine learning aspect or the large language model or the CNN. And it will learn from that. So, and then I'll say, hey, I'll upload a video. This video has X, Y, and Z of these tokens in it, and it will find those. And then okay, so this is how it's being used. It thinks in vernacular, and then it repeats, and then it will apply that to every video you have staged, stored in whatever capacity. So super fucking cool, right?
Wow.
I would have had, you just think, even 10 years ago, let's say I'm deployed 10 years ago to Afghanistan, if I was, or even let's say when I was doing counterintelligence documented media exploitation in Iraq, right? I would have had to sit with a translator. They would have watched the video and triaged it first. If that triage was important, then they would have translated it, right? Which is a hell of a task. They can only do about an hour to 2 hours worth of video from like Arabic to English a day, right? It burns. It's like playing chess. It burns calories, like a lot of them, But stuff like this didn't exist on any level back then,
Of course not.
Yeah. And then you can create topics. You can, if it's text, you can kind of pull specific pages out. You can do all sorts of interesting things. And so over time, if I'm looking at essentially one person or a group of people, it'll learn about those people from the videos. And then if you like that There, let me share again. Actually, let me show why this is important real quick. Oops, sorry. Present. Share screen. Window. Boom. Okay. So if you can see my mouse, this part right here, this is important. So when I teach it in one video, it applies to all the videos. And right now I'm just doing a small tester model. But once I point it towards, let's say, a Google Drive or something like that, it'll basically through their API and direct access, it'll apply everything I'm teaching it to everything I'm teaching it. So
that is really cool.
It is really cool.
I wonder if you could supply like a timeline of events. Let's say you had like, let's say 2 or 3 or 4 channels, and you had a timeline of events of what these people did, and then see if there was any keywords or like maybe, you know, like phrases that are used to help coordinate like movements between people, right?
Well, you know what? So what it can do for sure, if let's say, okay, let's say somebody does something and then we stream snipe it and then people make additional videos on it and that language is somewhere in one of those videos. Like, let's say we take all the videos for whoever, not even the ones he made and the ones that were made about him, and it'll correlate that language. Yeah. So super, that's pretty cool. Now, so this one is actually fairly rudimentary because it doesn't have a network function necessarily, but it has a correlation function. So
okay,
it will tell you, you know, click the tab and you can go see that part of the video. It'll also recognize that it's in another video, but it won't necessarily timeline it or put it into a visual aspect. The visual aspect's another one, but I had a little tester of it. I had a tester for 5 days. I don't have, you know, $10,000, $12,000 for a very limited software model, you know.
Yeah.
Write the offer. He'll give you another couple days.
I wonder if Hugging Face has anything similar to this.
I've been talking professionally to an AI company out of Boston, and these guys, they're doing some incredible work. So I will be getting some access in the future, and basically it's going to be scenario based. Like I'm going to use like my data dumps program. Like we're talking about like big cost and stuff because, you know, it costs less for me to take one of my 20 terabyte drives, get on the Acela train from DC, get the train to Boston, sit with them for a weekend or, you know, 3 or 4 days during the week and just kind of go over it than it is for me to put it in AWS and ship it and then do, you know, it's actually cheaper to physically move it instead of, you know, transfer it via the cloud, you know, and the cloud actually takes a lot longer too. Because some of the, you know, it's indexing as it goes. And I'd rather do it direct anyway, because face to face with these people is great. And what I brought up that most of my stuff's, or I got about 80 terabytes of Russian stuff, right? And it turns out a bunch of their staff is Ukrainian.
Interesting. Yeah, they're interesting.
They're pretty interested. They're like, why didn't we know about this before? I was like, well, I've been talking about it in public for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, I've known from my industry, like your typical consumer or even business rated broadband's probably going to do 2 terabytes up to the cloud in like 3 or 4 days. So like for you to move 20, you're going to waste a shitload of your bandwidth, and they're going to waste a shitload of their upload speed or download speed. So yeah, it's that old adage that used to be taught in like networking school for the longest time, is that it's more efficient to take it. There was always a calculation of how much can we compact into a little small disk and throw in a 747 and put fly over to London versus like, do we send it through the transatlantic pipeway?
But it's like even the cost per, like even that still compared to 10 years ago, like
Yeah.
how many organizations had a terabyte of data 15 years ago? You know,
No.
maybe universities, maybe banks, Microsoft, obviously, Apple, obviously, you know, big companies had that.
So I'm running into companies right now that have been on Windows Server since 2000, and now they're getting into like, okay, we should go to the cloud and so on and so forth. And I'm sitting there going like, you have data on here that's 30 years old. What do you want to do with it?
Right.
It's like, oh, that application we ran back in 1995. Like, do you guys want this data anymore? I know you're a business that wants to keep historical data, but do you really want this?
And it's like, is it in active archive or is it like active storage, right? That's like, there's a big difference between the two. I didn't know about all that stuff till recently. So
yeah. I mean, it's just like all of a sudden all these companies got digitized after Y2K, and it's just kind of like they're holding on to this clump of crap that is not helping any of their business practices whatsoever. And it's kind of one of those, do we need it? We got to tell companies to delete shit. And it's like, okay.
Oh man, long tail data is all sorts of fun. I a couple companies ago I worked at a place and they hadn't changed a couple domain admin passwords in 14 years.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Like,
You've seen some of my slides, Biff. Like, I mean, I don't care where you sit in an organization. Most American companies have less of a problem than the European and Asian ones, but I mean, it's bad. It's bad in Europe. Like when there's no password, like when you don't force people to use a strong password, they don't. They do not. And like 111111 or QWER 1234, not strong passwords. Right?
QWERTY, yeah.
And I was explaining this at a talk, and somebody came up to me. They're like, "Oh, well, why?" I'm like, "Didn't you just listen to fucking hour of me talking like this Intel shit? You know, like what the hell's your problem?" Like, and I tell people as a joke, I'm like, "Hey, listen, what's the next step for me? If I get fired, crime's the obvious next step. I have like billions of username and passwords. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to transfer all your crypto into a Tumblr and I'm going to be fucking rich in a week. You know, it's going to be great. I'll hire some friends to help me automate and everything's going to be awesome."
Right.
Hey, what's your cat's name? Is it Stevie?
Yeah, it's Stevie. That's why I renamed my. Yeah, you're only like about a good 30 minutes behind on those chats, so you're okay.
Oh, my bad. Okay, my bad.
I could have addressed it myself, but you know, we were glued in some conversation there, so
no worries. Yeah, it's behind. I'm watching the StreamYard, not the YouTube, because it's too much, you know. So, High Priestess, there are still government systems that have to utilize a floppy disk. They haven't figured out how to move from the 5.5-inch disk to a digital system, which is pretty bad. Hey, Biff, I would assume that you're familiar with 2600.
Yeah.
So my first intro to cyber and hacking was with MJ, probably 1997.
Oh, wow.
97, 98 sounds right. Yeah.
97, 98. I think it was over the summer, probably between the school year, because MJ could drive. I didn't have my license yet. So we'd go from where our county to the Galleria in St. Louis for the 2600 meetings.
I would never step foot in that Galleria ever again, though.
Oh, God. So
it wasn't the nicest mall in all St. Louis to like the worst mall you can ever walk into.
The worst mall.
30 years, 20 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then it became, can we break the land speed record from Lebanon, Illinois to the Galleria? So we had a buddy who had the same guy, Paul. He had Dodge Stealths, RT twin turbos, and we'd have 2 police scanners and our little, when the police radio still had the crystals. And we're doing like 130 and like, we're making it to the Galleria.
Yeah, it's the suburbia, Illinois into Missouri, right? So, and not to mention downtown.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
sounds like your own version of a cannonball run.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And so, like, if MJ,
That's awesome.
so we had pagers and we had kind of cell phones. They were like the Nokias, right? So, like, if he was already there, no, I didn't see any cops on 70 or 64. You know, it was good through here. You know, we kind of get some data before we started going. But that's when we could still reroute phones from a payphone.
Yeah.
So where we sat in the food court, remember there used to be big walls of payphones.
Mm-hmm.
So we had all the rerouting codes, and we knew who our target was. So we'd go into the payphone. We did it to like movie theaters quite a bit. I remember the movie theaters and some other places, and I'm sure it's way past the statute of limitations now because it's just like petty misdemeanors. But so we'd reroute these phone calls from the movie theater to the payphone right by where we're sitting. So the phone go off and be like, Cinema 10, this is Dave speaking. You know, they'd be like, hey, wonder what's being played tonight. You know, I'm bringing a girl in. It's like, hey, dude, like, listen, just come in and ask for Dave. I'm gonna hook you up with a free large popcorn. We'll just start the movie when you get here, dude, because there's nobody in tonight. And just shit like that, and just talk to him, be like, yeah, man, hey, we'll see you good. Hey, enjoy your evening, man. Peace. You know, and then like that go on for an hour and a half, and then this is a state police officer, blah blah blah. I'm like, Cinema 10, you know, like we know it's not Cinema 10, no, sir, this is Cinema 10, you know, or whatever.
And what's creepy was like we were like 17 or 18, or I'm sorry, 17, 16 in this case, and that some of these people were like mid 20s, 30s or so. I've known for a fact that at least like 5 or 6 of the people we talked to in these meetings had been arrested like multiple times after we talked to them for different issues.
Yeah.
Whether it was like computer related or not, they were just there was one guy claiming to be an FBI guy, and when you learn more about it, well, apparently he was investigated by the FBI. So, like, you want to talk about like stolen dollar? Yeah, this is, I would say, our first intercept into it a little bit.
Yeah. And then it kind of got. I remember it getting kind of serious and kind of like it got kind of serious after that because like there still wasn't laws for hacking, right? So then it was like, you know, the dark web didn't exist, the internet barely existed, but we had the forums, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a unnamed associate who was figured out the carding thing like early on, like so he's a little younger than me. So the second he could drive, like he started ordering all sorts of stuff, and he figured out how to use a proxy and not get caught. So he'd be like, hey, my nickname was Waldo back then. He'd be like, Waldo, hey man, can we take the back seats out of your parents' minivan? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm on my way. Take all the seats out the back because you know the seats used to detach and you could take them out, right?
Yep.
He'd be like, hey, we're going by MJ's house. I'm like, okay, cool. We get gas and start driving. And he'd be like, I'm heading to MJ's. No, turn here. I'm like, okay. And he's like, just wait here for a little bit, you know. So what he was doing was he was ordering basically on the forums and stuff. He had this big list of stolen credit cards. He had always had the best shit because he was just using credit cards, and he would ship everything to a house that was for sale that nobody lived in, no signature required. So we got to this fucking house, and I mean, there was 200-300 fucking boxes on the front porch, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Holy crap.
So like, I mean, this thing was stacked. I mean, sitting on boxes, yeah. And then
oh wow.
Then that got a little too shady. So then they were going to Best Buy. They'd buy a hard drive. They bought their own shrink wrap machine. So they'd take the insides out of the hard drive, put in crushed soda cans, shrink wrap it, and return it like the next day. Yeah. And then what was after that? The satellite card rewriting. That was big money. So just getting access to a card to rewrite, like they're like, I'll give you $500 a card. You know, 1998, that was a lot of money.
lot of boxing fights I watched for free. It's
Right.
like, I would never paid $19.95 to watch Mike Tyson get his ass beat, but you know, it was fun once or twice. Yeah.
So we ended up in where MJ and I grew up, underage drinking is a thing. It is you could kind of say it's a legitimate thing, partially because it's so rural. Like probably 75% of our graduating classes knew what they were doing the rest of their life, right? MJ and I were the outliers for sure. So we'd go to all these random bars. Basically everybody underage knew where you could and could not drink, and on what nights, for that matter. You knew what cops were on duty. You know, this cop's going to call your parents. This cop's going to give you a DUI. Stay out of this town. Go here. Don't go there. You know, so we had like basically 2 or 3 counties mapped out. So you'd go to these random bars where you could or couldn't drink, and if you couldn't drink, you would order food. And, you know, the bathrooms are in the back, and they have the TVs in the back, and they used to have the thing. So you just grab that little fucking card right out of there, you know, put it in your pocket, finish your dinner, and leave. It's like you got paid to go there to get a free meal and, you know, steal all their receiver cards, you know. But, and a lot of those cards ended up going to Canada. I found that out significantly later. But, yeah.
Canada loves American television. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now the thing with Canada now, which I'm not getting into the activities, but you know, they only have one cell provider for the whole country.
Really?
It's called Altel or something like that, or whatever it's called. Nortel. I can't remember, but it's. I mean, it's good if you're in a city. They don't have options like we do, you know. So like getting access to American tech up there. I mean, sure, you could just drive across the border and sell it, or they can come down and buy it, right? But getting it to work right. So it's more than a jailbreak. So that's kind of big business now. Or getting a phone that the government doesn't watch everything you fucking do on in Canada. It's pretty important to them too. But.
Yeah, because they had the whole with trucker protests, and then they were going down to people's houses who were involved and like interviewing them and stuff. Yeah.
And their big 3 right now is Bell, Rogers, and TELUS.
Yep.
I don't know if like some conglomerate got broken up or something after a period of time, but.
Did you guys see what happened at the U.S.-Canada border today? Maybe 3 hours ago?
Yeah, I did catch that. Car just went into the checkpoint. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up.
Like leaving the U.S. or trying to enter?
I think they were entering Canada, but the car apparently was full of explosives and shit. So.
Oh.
Car explodes. All right. So it's 8 hours ago. Let's get it. Or actually, I need this in this window. Hold on 1 sec.
You're calling it an explosion?
Yep. It blows up. The occupants were killed. Okay, hold on. Present. Here we go.
Yeah, figure it was a car that hit some weird ramp thing and ran into the wall. I didn't know it had anything else on it.
Now, yeah. Sorry, let's see.
That's a different angle than I got. Yeah.
So here's my question, because everybody's theorizing and there's no actual answers, right? We do know is this RMCP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, their investigative units, and the FBI are all investigating. 2 occupants were killed for sure. But apparently the car was full of explosives. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here we go. Let's.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like one other. Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah, this might be a better video. He's going fucking super fast.
90 at least.
Oh my
Now,
God, he's
how
just
does
flying.
this
Look at
ramp
him.
thing exist? Yeah.
Look at that. Holy shit. Like, that's insane.
I almost want to go on Google Maps and see if that bump exists. Like, do they plan to run into this bump or?
Mm-hmm. Oh wow,
That is insane.
that's insanely fast too. Was that a Tesla or a Beamer or something?
Nah, it didn't look like a battery thing, but
30, 40 feet high. I've never seen anything like it.
This thing was up in the air. I know it sounds like I'm crazy, but the car was airborne.
And again, the FBI always treats any kind of explosion initially with the assumption that it was a terrorist event.
The Buffalo Police are working with other local
oh, it was on that border. Okay.
state and federal law
I
enforcement.
don't know why I felt like it was Detroit.
At this time, there is no indication of a
Okay.
terrorist
Now
attack.
they're not saying it's a terrorist attack. Okay.
Tragedy at the U.S.-Canada border today on the day before Thanksgiving. A fatal incident involving a massive ripple effect
All right.
on our area.
We continue to follow breaking news tonight.
With breaking news.
Love how breaking news is just repeat every 2
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, originally it was terrorism, right? Now it's obviously not terrorist related, right?
We haven't seen the explosion to let me feel like there's explosives in the car. I just feel like it's gas ignited.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I drove back from Indianapolis and I think I saw a Tesla on fire in a downpouring rainstorm, and it was
Right.
like backed up traffic for miles and it was engulfed. And it's downpouring rain, and you're like, why is this thing on fire?
That happened when Houston flooded. What was that electric car before Tesla?
The all electric car?
I can't remember what it's called.
There's a thing that took off the market, but
Yeah, they took it off the market. It's not available.
like GM had like a vehicle of some sort, and then it's like, yeah.
I can't remember. I can't
Okay.
remember. Oh shit. Yeah, but I mean, they stopped air flights out of Buffalo. They're temporary, right?
Why?
That's what I said. It's like, I can understand stopping traffic from the bridge. Okay, the bridge where it actually happened. I'm like, okay, that's fair, right? But stopping air traffic, they evacuated all the government offices. I mean, I guess that's probably a precautionary, wise thing to do. But man, that's crazy. I mean, that thing flew.
We are talking about Buffalo, right? Like, what kind of air traffic are we talking about?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I don't know that people
Your
go there.
flight in from New York City, maybe one from Cleveland.
Do people go there on purpose? Like, is that a real thing?
Did they see what was inside the car? Like, was this an explosion of like actual explosives, or was it like,
No, they just said it's not terrorism related. So when they said the car was explosive laden, that was not true. So
okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say that just sounds like, but that almost looked like a stuck accelerator or something, and just, oops.
I guess the scenario is the following. If it was terrorist related, it's pathetic terrorism. It's like not even organized or even sophisticated.
Right.
I mean,
It's-
this is like a couple rednecks from Alabama trying to do something that's based locally to anyone else. But yeah.
It's kind of like people in the Midwest not knowing how to use a roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically the same thing, but at a border crossing.
There are some great roundabout drive-through videos out there.
Yeah,
like
fuck yeah, there
vans,
is.
people just doing like 60 miles an hour, and oh my good lord.
Jesus, take the wheel, right? Woo. I don't know. So we have a ton of roundabouts here.
Yeah,
You're not supposed. It's very hard to get in a head-on collision in a roundabout, right?
very hard.
If you're just moderately smart at driving in America, like it's probably going to be okay. But no, not Northern Virginia. So, and like no alcohol involved either. It's like not a DUI. It's just, you know, I don't
It's
know.
getting. I like the fact. I like the notice of it being more and more common. I did witness a couple people drive it wrong when they first came into my area, and sure enough, they are probably gone nowadays. And they're in that age bracket probably. But
Yeah.
Indiana's actually, I think, ranks third in the nation as far as roundabouts. Period.
Really?
There's a town called Carmel, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. 170 roundabouts in their town.
What?
Yeah, and I drove through there on business, and they actually have this thing called a double wishbone roundabout, and it's basically kind of like a oval with an figure eight, but it's not connected.
Yeah.
And what they do is they put the expressway underneath there, so that's like the way to get on and off ramp into an expressway.
I'm going to pull up the map real quick. We actually,
Yeah,
we have
well, Carmel, Indiana, I could actually pretty much pinpoint exactly the one or two, what they call eight. I think they call it like the collapsed donut. It's called like the double roundabout interchange, or DRIs. Yeah. It's I'm thinking that next time I'm down there, I'm on a quest to drive through every roundabout in this town, just so I can say I did it.
Oh, roundabout fitness. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Nothing?
Yes. In fact, I think you're looking at the exact same one I am. Yeah. I drove through one of those the first time, and I'm just like, holy Christ, what the? All right, cool. I can get right onto the expressway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Actually, we have one by us. Let me do
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so ours is a little different, right?
Okay, so that's a DDI, a double diamond interchange. Yeah.
Yep, you go on the wrong side, and this area used to suck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just it's super efficient, you know.
So like your typical left lane's on the right, and the right lane's on the left.
Yep.
And then it crosses back over, and it saves like a traffic light or two.
Yep, and it just works for whatever reason. And then we have spots like, let's see, where am I? 15. Okay, so this one's really a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
So how do I? Let me take off the traffic patterns. But nope. How do I? No, it's fine. Yeah, this one has 4 right here. So you know, bump, 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 bump. Yeah.
No, I think it's one of those situations where if you have an interesting governor, like say probably the douchebag in Maryland or the guy in Indiana, they just like, oh yeah, we're not giving you money, state funding for traffic lights. You're just going to build a roundabout,
right?
Build land, because when they're major cities where I live, they have roundabouts with only one way to get in and get out. So like, there's no real need for a roundabout, but they're just presetting the roundabouts in case things happen in the area. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Wild. Wild.
Well, I wonder if that's also a way to it's a what's it traffic control device to keep speed down, right? And like in my area, they went through and they repainted all of
So
the
speed
roads
bump
on.
route, we just do roundabouts everywhere. I like that.
Yeah,
idea.
well, yeah. I mean, because it's like, you know, if you have a nice long straight stretch and they don't want people racing, put it in a roundabout, and we can add to it later. But yeah, they did here on the streets. They repainted, and instead of having like a one lane and then a shoulder, you have where like you move from kind of the shoulder to the middle, and then kind of back out to the shoulder occasionally, to sort of keep people, I guess, from going too fast. And but I'm like, I just ignore those. I just drive straight through, so it looks like I'm swerving everywhere.
Do you ever get out to Yakima or Spokane?
Yakima once, Spokane, I think once when we were coming in. But it is nice out there. We
need to explore.
Yeah, no, I really want to explore. We came out here and COVID happened and so haven't had a chance to do any real exploring. Although there was an Airbnb at Clay Elum Lake that we stayed at that was amazing. Like, if you want a beautiful spot, Clay Elum is nice. Sorry, I got home and the missus needed to run out to go grab a couple things that we forgot, I guess. So I'm on baby duty around, and he's watching Paw Patrol.
Yeah, Paw Patrol's popular with the youngins.
So sorry if you get any bleed over here.
Oh, no worries at all. It's literally just us bullshitting with like 8 friends. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure people would care.
You know, it's kind of not promising, right, for society. It's like if we're not really proactively talking shit about somebody, a lot of people really just aren't interested in hearing about it. They'd rather hear about hate and discontent and than some of the other stuff.
Well, and I mean, sometimes just a general BS session is sometimes a general BS session is kind of like, well, I'm gonna go catch up on the things I want to watch or something.
Yep.
I know I fall into that same sort of pattern, right? Which I've got limited stuff, but yeah, it is. If anyone has been in chat and said hi to me and I didn't say hi back, I was driving until very recently, and I'm.
Oh, is that where the cussing came from? Okay.
Huh?
Is that where the cussing came from? Yeah, my commute today was like an extra like 7 or 8 minutes because of Thanksgiving traffic, because people want to celebrate this holiday as if it's the greatest thing ever. Why, I don't understand, but and it gets worse because I had to drive through a mall. It's gonna be an extra 10 minutes on my way home every time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, we're I had to drive to get a pie that we ordered a couple days ago, and just the timing and stuff. We the pie was over kind of where the daycare is, and forgot about it until we got home. And then we went to the grocery store, and it was mobbed, of course. So we get back. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go grab the pie. So I grabbed that and got from Taco Bell, and came home, and Mrs. was looking through the bags, and we've got a couple things. So she's off to the close grocery store. So, but yeah, no, I was thinking about that about training AI models and like running your own like home gamer one, right? And I'd be curious what it would take to do something like that parrot AI, but on your home machine, right? You probably need to run a couple different AI models, like a text to speech and video parsing. And
for gaming, as in like World of Warcraft, or
no, sorry, that's a little phrase I picked up from watching too much of that Canadian guy, AVE. It's like you got the home gamer setup of just running it yourself.
Oh, I'm tracking. Yeah. It doesn't seem like that hard because so much has been open sourced, right? So
Yeah,
you can, if you get the base software for any of these systems, you can focus it to do what you want it to do. And a lot of the systems, like let's say for a $200 for like AI coding would be a nominal fee, right? That $200 will write the code for you. You just have to kind of describe it like a chat GPT setting, like, hey, listen, I'm trying to get X to work with, A to work with B. So it'll do like a cross-domain solution for you.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
And I'm learning more, and I'm taking, Amazon has its free courses. I've been taking those pretty much this whole week, in addition to like finding data dumps and shit. But really interesting stuff, like just the 8-minute video, the intro to AI, right? It's like, okay, I can do this,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, or let me see if I could just pull it up here too.
Cool. Yeah. Because I started my own text to speech. You can train voices with samples and stuff. But I'd be curious about training like multiple models to do the same, or to accomplish a task and to compute. And I mean, my God, it was crazy when I was getting this all set up. I would run it on my CPU and a simple sentence of like, "Hi, my name is Biff, and I like the color red." It took like 45 minutes to generate on CPU, but running it through graphics card with CUDA was like a minute.
Oh, here we go. Good. Got to do all the multi-factor. There was an account error. Shit. What the fuck?
I've been trying to get recordings of my boss on Zoom meetings, so I can stitch out I can cut out his voice, use that to train my models, and then call him with his own voice, and have some pre-generated sentences. I think that'd be fun.
I think that would be pretty fun. Come on, multi-factor. Let's get this done.
Okay. And of course, he is messing around with some AI and trying to make one named after his wife, and kind of like a Jarvis. And I think I would call him with himself and prank that his AI escaped and is coming to replace him.
That's a pretty good one. I like that. It's called AWS It's called AWS Educate.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
That's what it's called. My account. Come on, man. You're killing me here. What's going on? There's some issue, but I don't know what it is. It might be them. It might be maintenance or something. Or I can't read in English. Read. Captures sometimes. Oh,
dude, I hate captures. I was trying to make another Twitter account the other day, and it was like it was one of those like which face doesn't belong, and it was like a salamander and a triceratops, right? And you have to pick the one that doesn't, whose head doesn't match. And like after about 30 tries, I was like, okay, no, they just don't like whatever IP that I'm behind. I'm done with this noise.
I had the same problem too. I was doing that with the nonprofit, and Twitter and Facebook said "fuck you," and let me tell you why.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna tell a little story. And NordVPN, if you're listening, pay attention. I had my account suspended for web scraping with no warning, because I was archiving all the stuff that we've been working on. And apparently, I was doing it too often or too regularly. And I just paid for like a 3-year subscription, and they terminated my account, but they didn't tell me, just none of my devices connected. And it took me like 3 days to figure out, like, to get a hold of someone. They're like, oh yeah, we detected unusual scraping, and that's your TOS. So your account was suspended.
But scraping is against QoS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Every
yeah, so
program is screwed now.
yeah, so and so I was like, well, great. Can I? I'm sorry. I was doing a project, and I guess I had I was doing this thing too fast. I do apologize.
Yeah,
Please
you
let
wrote
me.
the code. My bad.
Yeah. I was like, I guess this was too fast. I apologize. Can I? I'll change my code so that it does. My I was calling it a backup. I was like, I'll change it so I'm doing a backup once a day. Instead of, I made up some excuse like, like I accidentally set it for like every 60 seconds instead of every 3,600 seconds or whatever 24 hours is, right? But yeah, nope. They termed the account. They won't refund, and I can't send up a new one. Well, I mean, I guess I could, but I mean, like, just that level of service after being a customer for a while. I'm like, man, like, that's frustrating.
That's kind of bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
But a couple of other, I learned an interesting lesson. One of the providers that I am using like rotates your IP address like every minute, which is pretty cool. But it can cause some issues with things like captchas.
I'm using Nord right now. For the dark web, I'm using Hunix. Hunix, yeah, it's basically let me think. What's that operating system? Fuck, on Unix. Fuck, need to look up. Let me just pull.
Oh, Hunix with a W. Oh, yeah. I got you. Okay.
So, like, I have Nooks I use, and I'm essentially all I have on there is like Oracle VM or whatever I'm using at the time, and then just Hunix. So, kind of using Hunix as the operating system on those. Yeah, Linux. Okay, it's Linux based. The old one was something else based. I can't remember now, but it's still pretty user friendly. Like to update, it's the update codes in command line are not overly complicated. It's pretty simple.
Sure.
Ubuntu is what I'm thinking of. They use the command line's Ubuntu basically.
Oh yeah, okay.
And you can take it as advanced as you want. So I would use like Tunnel Bear on the outside, and I would use Nord on the outside and Tunnel Bear on the inside. But then like one of my bosses came up to me, he's like, don't use Tunnel Bear anymore. I was like, uh-oh. So, ExpressVPN, I use that on the inside now. I don't know that I trust Express that much. I've heard some rumors. I don't know if they're true. But still, like, an anonymity function is better than not having a rotating VPN is better than not.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't be a low-effort target, is basically.
Right. I mean, you want to be a hard target because people don't go after hard targets unless they really want to, because there's a billion easy targets out there.
John, do you remember what I talked about in the before we started?
Yeah.
I'm requesting my book with this Airbnb and Miss Scooter, and I'm dropping this link.
Sweet. Sorry, I'm sending a text to my son.
You can't send my message. Oh, they got to remove the link. Okay, fine. Whatever. Airbnb is going to limit like YouTube videos in their messaging. Okay.
That's odd. Doesn't seem necessary at all. You know. So here's something cool for you guys. Saw this while buying some Christmas decorations. Uno, but it's all different wild cards. Yeah.
How does that work?
Let's find out together. You know.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
So yeah, I opened them up earlier. I had to read the instructions because you got like a wild card +2. I mean, it's literally no shit, all fucking wild cards. So there's a way to play.
Everything's wild and try to get the worst hand possible.
I mean, I guess. But there's new wild cards too. It's not just all the traditional. So, you know, other than like we don't play cards that much, but I'm like, talk about fucking chaos, total chaos. It's like,
dude,
yeah,
like that. That's either gonna be a real quick game or it's gonna be a battle of wills. Because like, yeah, there's like you'd have to strategically place your wilds with like the pickups so that you have 1 or 2 in reserve. But I mean,
I think the last game of Monopoly I played is when my nieces collaborated and whoever was doing better got everything. And so it was like playing against 2 nieces versus 1. It was
right.
Yeah. Like, okay, you guys get double the options, double the rolls. What can I do here? Using the most efficient Monopoly strategies. Nothing can compete against 2 versus 1.
Nope. You know, it's
Sarah,
like
I'll give you all my properties for $1. Okay.
Of course. Right.
You got to beat Uncle Mike.
When I picked up Cole, his sister and his mom were playing Monopoly, and it's like she had just gotten done crying because she was going bankrupt, but she wouldn't sell. Like, it's like not supposed to be that serious of a game. Okay, like it's time to chill out a little bit, you know. Oh man.
I need to use the girls' room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
2 minutes, I promise. Nothing more.
You got it. You got it.
Okay. I'll change shirts maybe.
Why not? Oh man.
my boy wants matches. I had to tell him no.
No burning the house down. Dude, there's so much coming down the pipe like the next 2 weeks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're really exciting stuff.
I'm very much excited. I'm waiting with bated breath here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I'm trying to think long term with a few things. It's like, how do I I got on board with all this stuff kind of by happenstance, you know?
Yep.
So what's next? Like I'm starting to think about like stuff like that. What's actually next for all this, right? Is, you know, I kind of don't want it to be a temporary thing.
There is there is another op that we could do that was going to happen that didn't, but we can. I can tell about it offline.
Okay. Cool.
But he's a real shyster.
All right.
Like preying on victims of children.
Okay, that sucks.
So, but not in like a direct way, but on families of that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll figure out what we can do.
And I am working on another one for that one of the cold case advocacy groups. I'm doing more data that I'm putting it into Analyst Notebook and stuff like that. And
okay,
you know, I guess you could say my portion of this, I'm trying to help them out as much as I can, right? it's a really, really bad case. So I imagine when I'm talking, there's a few companies like the one that I use for data. I think the one that I'm using is the best option currently, but there are some new ones kind of people, teetering into the business. But, I'm taking a look at those, seeing what's out there. Should I invest the money into making a purchase for these, or do it by search? So like if I'm not paying just like a flat, $200 a month type thing, but I'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It seems like for some of these cases though, like sites like genealogy and things like that are some of the best bets.
Yeah.
But some of these cases, it's like, everybody's fucking poor, right? I mean, it's like it's hard to track. It's hard to track people who all live as a group, right? So you have to really have access to a lot of family data to figure out who lived where, why, and how. So
yeah, and get to know them, and if they don't have like a decent digital footprint or whatever, it's
or none, zero. So like this other one, there's essentially, except for the people like around our age, which is very slim, there's almost no digital footprint. So I'm going just super data heavy. I got like 15, 16 FOIAs out right now. This is like, a lot of these people have already spent 30, 40 years in jail, right? They're out now type thing, but nobody's safe, right? So it's multiple functions. It's keeping the community safe.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know how much details I really want to say on it, but I mean, I can from my time in Iraq, certainly I can handle these really gruesome bad cases. I know that Shiz doesn't want to, and I think that's fine. Oops. But the ones that Shiz can't do, I can do, and it is really bad. But it's like I always knew, but actually now hearing about it and being directly involved in some of it, it's like, okay, well, I mean, that's really fucking evil shit,
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting as you humanize people and as you talk to the families and things like that, right? Because like from an like an objective point of view, right? I mean, let's take some of the now banned subreddits that had, like videos of industrial accidents, right? You're like, oh damn, like I don't want to die that way. That's bad, right? Like, guys spinning around lathes until they come apart, right? And it's just like, oh my god, like, and you can see that, and you can say like, wow, that's terrible. I'm not going to do that. But then, I guess once you start connecting with the people involved and things, and understanding them, then it becomes a whole lot heavier, right?
Yep. And 4chan's kind of still the same way. Like 4chan's just almost anything goes.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. Yeah. I've heard some of crazy stories.
I haven't been on there in a while. It's just too much.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The Rainbow board where like that one guy had killed his girlfriend and described how it was harder than he thought and stuff. Posting pictures. It's like, dude, Jesus.
I know. But whatever, fuck them, right? If we find those people, it's just gonna hunt them down, right?
Oh no, 100%.
Are you familiar with Bunker 530?
Bunker 530? No, I don't think so.
It's basically YouTube for combat, and so since like the end of the war, GWAT, and the start of the new wars, like it's become pretty popular. There is some graphic stuff in there. Some of it's still censored, right? It's not necessary. It's not a free for all. It's kind of, I would consider it more analytical, maybe in some ways. but it's a really good learning tool for the government. It's like we get to see what a munition does to a tank in combat.
Oh, okay.
And it's an app just like YouTube, essentially.
Oh, interesting.
They have ads.
Wow.
The guy who started it's an Army vet of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it. It's on my main screen on my my phone, but yeah.
Oh, interesting. I'd be curious if they have any classified data that leaks out in the comments, just like God, what was that game? War Thunder, or the where folks are like, well, the performance of this tank is actually X because the real one has this insert classified data here.
Right.
And they're like, no, don't say that, dummy.
Or the Maryland National Guardsman who wanted bona fides on Discord, so he released actual classified. Like, I am an intel professional.
Right. Oh, God.
They're like, okay, let's just go into this system and see who accessed that data. Let's see who printed.
Right.
Oh, this guy. And it's like, okay, funny. Dumbass. He's going to spend a bunch of years in prison.
Good. Like, you know.
Yeah, actually,
that's
here. Let me.
It's a bad move, bro.
It's a bad move. It's a bad.
Career limiting resume generating event and career limiting opportunity at the same time.
Right. So share screen, Funker 530. Okay, so
pop down here soon.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So like right now, obviously Israel's hot. So is the war in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
You have categories.
Right now? Yeah.
So like Ukraine's a little less violent, I guess you could say, but still bonkers, batshit. But I mean, we're not even going to show that one. Okay. There's no audio in this one. But you can see people running, right? Then cluster bomb. Yeah.
Oof.
That's something you want to get hit with.
Yeah, no.
You know. This I'm gonna pause this one, but well, let's go till it gets close. I don't know that there's anything more scary in combat. Like, let's go here and let's pause here. Okay. Oh, that was a bad time to pause, but one side, the other side, right? And they're feet away from each other. It's incredibly scary, you know.
I can't even imagine. Wow.
The FPV stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got short videos like that. It's got, long form. It's got. So, like, you guys might have known this or might not. Marine Corps, U.S. Marine Corps got rid of its tanks, its entire tank program. Right? So, you had a choice. You could rank up and go into the Army as a tanker if you want to remain a tanker type thing. But it's like, now places like Ukraine and Russia and across the Middle East, they have drone factories, right? Like big ones, little ones, purpose-built drones. You can have a $200 drone and a $40 munition, and you can take out a tank, right? The age of tanks is essentially over. Sorry. Good. Fuck, sinus infection. I started medicine,
Dude, I'm
so
sorry.
I'll be all right.
Good.
MJ, go on mute for a second. It's so loud on your mic.
Oh, my muting, my typing, my mechanical.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's loud.
the sensitivity of the blue microphones.
Oh yeah, that's what I have. Yeah.
Sounds like.
How am I going to write the farmer to Chris for the third time to let him know I'm going to stay in Mascuda over Christmas? There's a lady named Penny. Apparently, she's 60. She's offering a room in somewhere in Lebanon. But I'm just like,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
No, I thought about hitting you up and like, hey, Waldo, can you find out who these people really are? But yeah, I never cared really that much.
I mean, I can.
Who cares?
You familiar? Oh shit! It's like really crazy big. Okay, hold on one sec. Let me switch screens. See if this gets a little better.
Well, hey, now is a good time to switch.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna have to run. I'll be in chat. I might be able to come back up if y'all are still up, but I'm gonna have to start getting the boy ready for bed and some other stuff. So if I don't manage to come back up, thank you very much for having me.
No problem, dude.
Cheers.
And I'm fixing up that insider threat thing, so maybe when I get back next week, I'll have it all formatted and stuff, and I'll send you a copy first, then we'll go live and sometime then.
Hell yeah, love it. Cool.
So cool, man.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you so much. You have a good one. You too.
You too.
Thanks.
Peace. Hey, MJ, you know Sarah Laundry?
Sarah Laundry.
This, I'm going to press play. This one's
okay. Sarah Laundry. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was somebody from our past or something.
She's got a great set. The Boiler Room is something crazy.
DJ EZ, but they call him EZ because it's British, right? Has probably some of the best turntablism I've ever seen, period, in my electronic following career.
I like this chick a lot, though. She's got some really cool mixes.
Now, the one problem with the Boiler Room is that you always will have a crowd like that, although right next to the DJ. And there's a lot of times where they actually have to get a bouncer or somebody to push the crowd back.
Right.
I've seen in so many Boiler Room things. But hold on, yeah, play this some more here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if she's actually playing for real or fake. Like, he's turning knobs or not doing anything. Okay. So this song has been remixed so many times, called with obviously from Slumdog Millionaire.
Right. She's pretty good. This one's, let me change it. This one's pretty good. Chase and Status.
Oh, Chase and Status, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Great drum and bass group.
Yep.
Yeah, they never went with the major label, which would have been
and it's like now they are the major label, really.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't appreciate this. Your best DJs are the ones with 40-year-old beards at this point.
I know, right?
30. They never learned how to play on vinyl. They've only learned how to play on CDMs.
Bodygun. This is cool. Okay. Is this still the Boiler Room? Let's see.
Yeah, let me find you what I was talking about here. So I've evolved into a genre called UK garage or garage if you're American. Right?
Right.
Right. So
let me find this real quick. Or send it in the chat. I'll pull it up.
This is a 30-second link. I'm going to throw it in the private chat real quick.
Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. 1 second.
I have it muted on my side. I didn't want to play it out to anyone.
Oh. Sorry, I'll start it over.
Sure. I have never seen better turntablism skills anywhere on the planet. But you see the guy right behind him holding the crowd back?
Yeah.
He's actually security. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've enjoyed every once in a while watching some of the newer Boiler Room stuff. They do it like we're in a Space Needle somewhere, and it's a weird thing on Y2K that all of a sudden like the DJs want to play out in like somebody's like rooftop in the scenery of the background. You don't see the crowd or anything like that. It was always like, what's behind me is the city skyline of some city.
Right.
There was even like a couple of drum and bass DJs who were like, okay, we're in a hot air balloon and we're spinning. I'm like, okay.
Great. Good for you guys.
I'm in front of a castle. I'm in front of a historic Scotland castle. We're spinning records for something.
There's some cool stuff coming out of Sweden too. Like
I know what you're
been...
talking about. God, I had them on my have them in my cell phone because I listen to them every once in a while in the car. Shit. You know what? I'm gonna grab the phone. Go look at my.
So I got this thing now. I just figured out how to get to work. It's called a Focusrite.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's the standard guitar cable to USB, right?
Okay.
But then I'm using Pro Tools and I can just lay down a track, like super simple,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could throw mics on it if I wanted, but I can't sing. I barely can talk. So yeah. But it is cool to take some of these.
Wilkinson is who I was thinking of, but you might be thinking about somebody else.
Maybe.
Okay. So in the hybrid wheel of random electronic music genres, I decided to end in UK garage and liquid drum and bass. Those were the two I ended up on. Every once in a while, I get into a little more raunchy of a drum and bass, but that's like the casual driving. I could burn a lot of hours on the highway with music. So, for example, when I drove to your house from here, which is about a 10-hour drive, depending on what traffic jam I get stuck in with a full bladder, I think I've listened to six 2-hour sets of UK garage on the way down there. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I do the same thing now, but it's like I'm either listening to podcasts and drives my kids nuts, or I'm listening to music. One of the two.
Right.
And I just, I'm it's just how I am now. And I still, just like back in the day, listen to everything. Like my playlist goes from Boiler Room to some new country guy who's covered with tattoos to grunge rock still. And some of these new metal guys are incorporating. It's not industrial like Nine Inch Nails,
right?
It's like the Boiler Room meets these really kind of sophisticated gent guys with these weird rhythms, time signatures, and 3 singers, and it's just like anything goes. It's not traditional anything. I've been quite. They call it gent, industrial gent sometimes, but. Cyberjet.
I mean, no one really does. Anyone really buy a guitar to play the guitar anymore?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I mean, no one's going to Guitar Center just to buy a guitar. Am I wrong? Or are they actually picking up like recording equipment, electronic equipment, synthesizers of some sort?
Well, that section of like Guitar Center is equal in size to the guitar area, and the bass area is the size of this office, right? It's just
because when I walked into a Guitar Center, I had the option of picking up 1 or 2 decks options that they had. Period. That was it. I'm pretty sure it's much bigger now. In fact, I had like a couple. My former network engineer, he left us. He was a mix master who set up all the Except most of the production for most of the mixed masters in B96 Chicago, historically. And I was like, I'm thinking about getting into it. I'm not sure. And he goes, just buy this thing. Just buy this thing. It's like $1,700. It's going to do everything you wanted it to do. You just have to buy speakers and everything else after that. And yeah, no worry about needles anymore. No worry about vinyl. You're good to go. So
What is this? Curtin Garvey Complex. Let me look it up. If not, please go. 2 First Amendment frauding freedom fighters went there today to create conflict for clicks and views. Okay. I'll check it out. I won't do a video on it tonight. Tonight's kind of an off night, right?
Yeah.
I just
It's
MJ and I have been friends since the 90s. We're basically chit-chatting and bullshitting tonight, right? So
it's the 90s. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'll check it out. And I forgot who it was in the. Somebody will watch this later and bring it up. I have this lady. I don't know if she's normal or she's crazy, but she's emailed me a lot. Like, she's got all our friends also email. She's like, Wally, you need to do a video on Tommy Tuberville. So I'm like, okay. So then she sent some video links. This other guy did. So I actually started looking into it. And it's like, sure, I swing more conservative than I do liberal on a lot of things. But then I looked him up. I'm like, okay, yeah, Tommy's not a type of guy I want to have a drink with,
Yeah.
I did some quick searching, OSINT, nothing, because I can't look up congressmen and stuff like that. I can, but I'll lose access pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, Holy Frauds? Hey, man, we're just out here bullshitting, dude. And Stanley, is that you who makes the guitars? Nope, a guy you went to college with. Sorry, I just saw that. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna do a series. So my OSINT, just kind of a real base 20-minute OSINT look. The dude doesn't live in the state that he governs.
Right, he doesn't live in Alabama.
He doesn't live in Alabama.
He doesn't live near Auburn, where he coached. Okay.
No. But let me actually, I'm going to grab something.
Yeah, so.
Stanley, here's something cool for you. I got a big one in the garage. Okay. These are cool as shit, right? So Dan Hauer made these for me for the kids, and then I have an adult one. Plugs in right here. Simple pickup, right? It's called a whammola. Les Claypool plays them. Probably can't hear it, but he played with a drumstick. You hit it with a drumstick, and then you change the tone with this. So you know the South Park song? That was played with one of these by Les Claypool on that song. So harps, guitars, same thing. Yep. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a thing on Tommy at some point, probably in December when I got probably things slow down quite a bit, and Who's the CMV guy? Repro it's play. Okay. Yeah, Tom. I'm tracking. All right. Yeah, I brought it up before, I brought up, we talk about the First Amendment auditors, the Second Amendment auditors are fucking idiots, right? Like, but it's not my love for the Second Amendment. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is going to places like malls with body armor and fucking AR-15s and sidearms and stuff. Like, you're going to get shot. Like, it's shockingly, it doesn't seem like it's happened on YouTube or on a live stream where these guys are trying to flex their Second Amendment rights and they get waxed, right? That's coming. That's gonna happen, right? Then what are you a martyr for? Like, you had the right to do it. Why did you do it if you didn't have to? I guess, but yeah.
Just want to reference only frauds. I sold all my baseball cards for $0.00 because none of them have value. Period.
Mm-hmm.
from the 90s and 80s.
We buy random Pokemon cards, right? And that one's worth $700 something.
Yeah,
My sweet-
sell it now before the fad goes away.
Yeah. I don't. It's just a cool looking card at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, a random gas station. It's one in West Virginia where it's like, oh yeah, I need gas now, and then you get off the exit, and it's like 11 miles. Then they had Pokemon cards, so the kids had to get something. So
of course they did.
Yeah.
Now, so in the 80s and 90s, you were able to ride your bicycle to the local gas station and buy a pack of cards for 50 cents. And usually you mowed the lawn, got like $4 or $5, and you bought several packs of baseball cards. And you completed a set of like 792 cards. It was 81 times 8. Yeah, 81 times 9. 792 cards to represent every player that played baseball that year. And you kept them in nice little books or boxes. And 5 years ago, I was kind of like looking on eBay and realized they were going for nothing. So then I heard that baseball was coming back. Talked to a couple of baseball card shops in the area. And they were saying there was nothing, that we flat out give them away for free to kids or whatever. I ended up like putting it up on like Free Cycle, whatever. And like I think one family had an autistic father, or not autistic, I'm sorry, Alzheimer father who picked it up and got some memories out of it. And the other one went to a kid who thought they were the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, okay, great, perfect. That's what I want to have happen with them. I didn't want to use it for what they were really worth, which was burning them in a fire or whatnot. But made me look at collections in general. My brother was a big stamp collector, and he told me to look into evaluating his stamps. And talked to a couple stamp collectors, and they're actually being sold for less than the value of their face. It's like, how do you sell stamps less than the value of if you were going to mail them? But that's where they're at. So the only collection that actually maintains any type of currency whatsoever would be a coin collection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've actually diversified a lot of. I decided if I want to collect anything, it will be silver. So I've been collecting about 200 plus ounces of silver so far in the last couple of months. Yep.
Smart.
Yep. And I have a coin for Josh whenever he decides to give me a mailing address. So
I think he gets,
written on it.
I brought that up, and then we hadn't talked about it since I need to text him.
Yeah,
he's probably sniping right now, but
good for him.
Like I got lucky buying some what used to be cheap, let's say classic guns, and then not expecting them to go up. It's just like, oh, well, this is cool. I've seen it in a movie, and it like went from $200 to $2,000 like overnight.
So my brother's in the financials, as I mentioned, and he was the one who was bringing up stamps, and he's like, "Hey, Michael, can you, since you're in the collections and stuff like that, can you just double check the value of it?" Because he bought, all these stamps in 1980 where a Big Mac was 99 cents because he worked at McDonald's. He told me, Big Mac was 99 cents. But I think nowadays you could buy a Big Mac for $4.30, maybe at best, maybe $6.50 or so, depending on where you live in the country. I don't think if you were to buy something in 1980, it would be that was worth, like, say, $10. I don't think it's worth $60 now.
Yeah.
Unless it's like some type of extremely rare item of some sort with extreme prominence. I don't think you're getting that evaluation on any type of currency. So when I chose to go into silver with the idea that it's not going to increase in value, it's just a hedge on inflation. So then I have a second thought in my head. It's just like, okay, I'm going to root for silver to make value, but that means that the dollar and everything else is crap.
Right. It's a bad trade-off, no matter which way you look at it.
Right. Honestly, what I've been deciding to do, and I've been kind of writing some private code on myself, or write some private coding. The plan is I'm going to try to get an evaluation based off of what eBay sells items for, and figure out exactly what the pricing is, and see if it's kind of going to be like a situation like the the one guy in Silicon Valley where the alert blows up whenever like he can make a profit on mining crypto or something like that.
Mhm.
So they have an alert that says, Michael, you can make a premium off of this coin that you have, and you should sell it on eBay now. So that'd be the idea.
I heard something the other day, and it's brilliant, right? So you just get basic painting stuff, and you paint something, right, on canvas.
Yeah.
You have, let's say, you pay 60 paintings, right, and you have it appraised at between $5,000 and $10,000 per painting, because basically the values in the eye of the beholder, right? You use that as collateral other than your house to get loans, right? And then you don't pay those loans, and they come and take the art, and you just make new ones and go to a different bank. I was like, motherfucker, right? And yeah, I feel like
most of the art world is nothing more than fraudulent trade of items, currency and whatever.
Hunter Biden's a great example. Like his art's actually pretty good. He's an artsy guy. Like his paintings are not bad at all. At least some of them aren't bad. I mean, I think it'd be cool to have some of the colorful stuff on the wall, but yeah, that they're going for $200,000, $300,000, right?
There's prominence. That's the definition. If you have prominence,
right?
You can explain the story of why this painting was valuable at the time, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure this Van Gogh guy was great.
Yeah.
Other than him cutting his ear off, I don't get it. It's just okay. He's just spitting oils on a canvas.
But it's not a Monet. That's the thing though. Like historically in education, like our art history and history of the world, like some of this art has meaning to it, or historical value even. Like you can buy a whole Roman mosaic from the Roman in the UK time, where they they found it while developing a subdivision. They're like, okay, and some guy was like, okay, well, we got to remove it. They get the architects or the they get the archaeologists out, and they do their thing, and then some random heavy machinery operator is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scoop this all up as gently as I can, and then I'm going to sell the whole mosaic on online. I think it'd be cool to have a Roman mosaic. At the end of the day, it's just terracotta and little stone pieces. eBay for graphic novels.
Yeah.
Fuck. Shit.
You want to guess how much eBay takes percentage-wise?
11%.
13.25.
13.25.
Unless you are like a super high premium membership member, you have to get on a certain threshold. And talk to my local coin company that does a good, I don't know, $500,000, $750,000 a year. They pay something like 10.5, something like that. But that's your ratio, give or take. But they gotta remember they take in the credit card fee or whatever. So
I like little knickknacks. You can kind of see some of them behind there. I got a little shelf right here. Like if I like the mini ones. I like these tiny little things.
Yeah.
Right? I'm never gonna sell them if they have no value, right? I just think it's cool. So
yeah, that's the only point. It's I don't know if you ever saw that Rick and Morty where they were showing some weird coin or whatever. It's the coins are valuable to you, and that's all that matters. And interesting enough, that meme been carried on to Bitcoin and everything else. It's it's just because you like them doesn't mean that they will increase or lower in value. It's the most important part is that you like them.
It's for me, because I tried to sit and do the crypto trading thing that lasted about a weekend.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's better just to buy the equipment and mine it myself.
Yeah.
Because then, outside of the energy cost, which it wasn't bad here. It's just free money. And then obviously if you have an office, that's the best place to mine crypto.
I think it was like, I remember crypto being a decent amount of thing around like 2010, 2011. And they had these websites where you like click on certain things and you got like fractions of, they call them faucets. They gave you a Satoshi worth of Bitcoin or whatever. I remember throwing that in big coin bank, and I figured out up to like 25 cents. And I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time. Star date, I decided, so everything went back up, and all of a sudden, like, I'm at $85 off of that 25 cents. I'm like, okay, cool. Right. So then I think I did a couple little survey things, got a couple bucks here and there, and I was able to pay off one of my friend's debts with it. And I was like, okay, it was worth it. Great. Done. So.
And it's like SHIB. SHIB was expected to be kind of big. So I was like, well, it's at like the 100,000th% of a penny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll buy $200 worth. So you
Sure.
have 60, 70 million SHIB. Okay, cool. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just sit on it for 20 years. If something happens, it happens, because there's no point in mining it, But we'll see. I mean, Bitcoin was probably the only really successful one. It's still worth a lot, right? So if you would have gotten on early.
Ethernet's got better prominence or going on forward, but yeah.
But I mean, that initial like, hey, my hacker buddy told me to buy some of this, and it started going up. And hey, man, I'm going to sell my 100 Bitcoin at $60,000 a pop, and I'm going to retire.
Yeah,
that happened.
Yeah.
But it's like now, it's like NFTs. That was a flop, right? It's at it's a dying thing now for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God, because that was like, oh.
The same people who made a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin, I've heard a lot of them actually also lose 7 digits worth.
Oh yeah.
Period. Yeah.
Period.
So,
because I mean, if you're somebody like me, it's just like I'd rather mine it and just let it heat my office during the wintertime for sure.
Sure.
Like, that's cool. That's fine. That's easy, right?
But
to
pay for
proactively,
always had.
So yeah, I mean, between Paul and one of my buddies out here was big into mining, who I actually bought one of my rigs from, I just basically I just followed the instructions that they gave me. Super easy to set up. Just plug it in and go. Yeah, it's just. And then I was like, you know what? I want to have 3 GPUs in this workstation. So just, I care about the workstation running better than I do the mining rig. So
yeah, it's only a couple kilowatts. Mother Nature could take care of it. No problem.
Right, of course.
You could take another team.
We're on nuclear here, but but hey, listen, man, I'm getting tired. I think I'm gonna call it.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. I was gonna do one about cyber if you want to next week if you want to get on it.
Okay.
I was gonna I've shown the people side of like my methodology.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna show the cyber side with I was gonna pull up some like the whole country of Russia's cyber.
Yeah.
Same with Iran and China, and have some slides, but then just kind of wing it. Like, hey, here's attribution 101 type thing.
Because I know what it is for you, because you give your slideshows and you get people who are just like being quiet on purpose because you're giving a slideshow. But I have a hunch you want the cliff notes in between every slide, and you want it from somebody like me.
I mean, yeah, because right now I'm on my own, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have like a Dave.
When somebody gives a presentation, you're nice and polite, and then you maybe remember that question or something at the end or not. And even still, they're like, I don't want to ask the question because I'm embarrassed or whatever. But I could be that instant peer, be like, okay, Wally, why did you put 5 periods after this sentence? So
right.
some type of continuing thought that you didn't put in there, or something
Probably.
along those lines? Yeah.
Because I write first, then I write with my heart, and then I write with my brain. But sometimes it never gets to the brain part.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's
It's
always good to
amazing
have.
what happens on like 12 ounces of scotch that you just like write something,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the next year you're like, that was brilliant, but why did I say that?
Why did that happen? And like, it's for me, I always have to have somebody QC, because it's not that my ability to write, it's my ability to translate it from analytical and technical to something that people can consider. That's the hard part.
Given. Yep.
And it just that's been me for 20 years at least. So
But yeah, I agree with you. Like short work weeks like this seem to be
Mhm.
the hardest 3 days, even though it's supposed to be a lazy time. It's some
I know.
reason it figures out a way to get really hectic in
I
the
can't not work though.
24 hours ish. Yeah, that we worked this week.
And like, I work today,
Mhm.
like, I mean, I did over 8 hours for sure, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of like I did 4 here, then we went to my sister's house, and yeah, did this with the kids, etc. So, and I'll probably stay on for another 30 minutes and check Telegram, see what's hackers have been putting out. I found some new channels that have been fucking great. Like, there's a channel it's aggregating all the hacks from like Hack
Mhm.
Notice and every what's that site? Crap, what's it called? Alien Vault, like
Okay.
places like Alien Vault. And it's like, if I check it in the morning, I'll have like 3,500 messages from the night before and not duplicates, and I'm like, motherfucker. So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to like, no, not all these hacks have data dumps associated with them. Right?
Yeah.
Some these are also defacements and things like that. So there's no guarantee of data, but it's all in the same format. So I've been able to just Control A on the view screen, or open up the index and just put them in, then see if it has a dump associated, because then I could just highlight those and delete everything else. So now I'm looking for something specific within it. It's pretty cool.
But let me just put an earworm in your head for
Sure.
the next time here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in Ukraine are wondering why they haven't had a missile attack in 65 days.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Because winter is coming, and this is usually the time where they
Mhm.
try to cut off infrastructure, and apparently that hasn't happened since October. So
Yep.
they're kind of like, well, what's going on?
'Cause that was their
Did they
plan
take
last
it
year.
all out, or are they saving it for some other day or whatnot? But yeah,
Are they considering
other
a
than like
ceasefire?
piece of crap Iranian drones that seem to break apart in the sky no matter what,
Right.
there hasn't been any major incidents over there in Ukraine.
Yeah, it
And,
seems like it's feet instead of miles.
Mhm.
And the Russians are, because last year their goal was to shut the power off so the Ukrainians freeze to death.
Correct.
And to an extent that works, right? I mean, it's illegal, but
You
that's
get all
just
the wood and everything else that you've stockpiled, and
right.
yeah.
And now they're more prepared, obviously, for that this year, so to have less of an effect. But yeah, no, that's stuff that everybody kind of thinks should be happening, or that they have done. Is not. But that's a good thing to look into. I didn't hear it was 65 days though.
Mhm.
Okay.
So WGN Radio, Chicago-based radio. I listen to them every morning on my commute. 720. They have a correspondent named Joseph Lindsay, who used to be with Fox News. He's independent now. He's been in Ukraine before the pandemic, and he hasn't left. So like, yeah. So like, he's the man of the people out there, and he's like giving like a daily broadcast, and it's one of those things where, interesting enough, half his message he brings out for like 10 minutes every morning is about Gaza and Israel, and he's just like, they're not talking about the lack of missiles from Russia. They're not talking about any of this stuff. They're talking about truce between Gaza and Israel. But by the way, this war's got more deaths more political capital than what's going on in that little area.
Yep.
But it's not hot anymore because it's not new.
I did some of the people that I've interacted with who sent me stuff who are in Ukraine, like Ukrainians,
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, basically the war's still hot. It's still a hot, active war here,
Yeah.
But
So,
Americans, we have such a short attention span, even for things that affect us now, just financially, typically. But
yeah, like I mentioned the last time I was on your cast, it's like, why were we so concerned about Matthew Perry and nothing about Acapulco?
right.
The people realize their like vacation spots no longer exist. And
like President Carter's wife died.
Yeah, Rosalind. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Rosalind. Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's going to be right after that because that's
Yeah.
how that works.
That's how that works. He's in hospice too, but
I thought he was going to go first. I was surprised.
People forgot was a president of the United States.
I mean, well, I don't know if it's technically for you, but he was president when I was born.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was Reagan. Reagan was president when I was born.
Yeah, just over that borderline there. Yep.
But I did see Russia has surpassed at minimum 300,000 killed in action.
Depends on who you talk to, right?
And my data from where they're scraping all the funerary sites and things like that and social media, it's close. It's close to that, and that could be some of the wounded died because their triage and medical evac capacity is atrocious or non-existent.
But they don't list like MIAs or anything like that. Sure,
they don't list that. It doesn't include captured. It doesn't include surrendered. It doesn't include fratricide type incidents.
Sure.
But I mean, the equipment's easy to tell.
Are these KIA or just casualties?
Are these KIA?
Okay.
So they're my data. The one channel that I trust. The other ones are very propaganda-esque, but they still have some data. There's some truth in there, right? But you have to. I mean, it takes so much time to cross-reference all that, but at minimum, they have to lose 500,000. To consider stopping. Right. That big push they talked about last year didn't happen. The big reinforcement where they conscripted a bunch of Russians, from Siberia and shit, places they don't care about.
I mean, this is a country that's already had a low birth rate.
Yep.
And they also have a large amount of brain drain.
Yep.
Especially in the last 2-3 years.
Well, more like, after the generation when the wall fell in Germany is the last generation that was really significantly technically educated, and then that, combined with population collapse. The guy I watched that for the geopolitical aspect, Peter Zion, 2 books ago, he literally, said late 2020, early 2021, Russia will likely invade Ukraine. And he said probably February because the ground's going to be frozen.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
that's exactly when, yeah.
And he'd been saying it for about 8 or 9 years, and he'd been telling people why. He's like, because it's the last time they can. They're not going to have enough people between the ages of this and that to build a military with the right technical and tactical capabilities.
Well, we made a huge mistake in 2014.
Yeah.
I think we just all ignored Crimea as like, okay, that area, and la-di-da, they're going to have the didn't have the Olympics. They had the World Cup. They're going to have all these things. No, they actually did have the Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
They did.
So they're going to be good and civil. They're going to try to get back in democracy, and we just kind of ignored 2014 way too early.
And everybody was okay with it.
Yeah.
They did. They've had 14 or 24 invasions of sovereign countries since I think 2001. Putin was elected
I
in
guess our
99.
thoughts are if they were former USSR, then we don't give a care, right? But
Yeah.
I think we do care now if it's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, because we realize
Yep.
those are decent enough NATO-ish countries to deal with. And I think the crosshairs was Belarus, Ukraine, right? And we're like, oh, Belarus is screwed. These people are morons. Ukraine was just enough to say, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's put this back a little
And
bit.
it's probably like I had a nice conversation with the Estonian ambassador to America, Mr. Prick. He's from, but it's spelled, it's not spelled Prick as we know it.
Yeah.
It is Prick, right? Let's see.
Just double check your sources there.
Estonian ambassador.
Oh, his name was Johnson. My bad.
No. No, that's the U.S. ambassador. Who's the other one? Oh, yeah, it is Prick. Kristen Prick. Prick.
Okay.
So very smart, really smart guy. He went to the U.S. War College for when he did his time in the Estonian military. Estonia is small. Yeah, there's only like 1.6 million people.
Yeah.
Tallinn, like they essentially they were able to skip technological steps because they were small and efficient, and they went from being poor to not poor. You know,
they have some of the best voting systems in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, and banking. But you know, it's basically, you know, most embassies have like a you know, economic development and technology section and people for those resources. So it's like, for me, they're like, hey, are you allowed to do business in Estonia? I'm like, yeah. Well, here's what we need. If you have any proposals or anything you'd like to submit, please do. And you know, they kind of go over what they're looking for, and they want to incorporate like AI into their cyber and all sorts of really smart stuff. And they're small enough, and they have the resources they can do it. And you know, efficient, consistent power, you know, things like that are important because they know
they
if like
to Helsinki. I think they are one of the top 5 countries in the world economically per capita.
I'd imagine Estonia's up there too.
Yeah.
And I got another one coming up at the end of the month with who am I talking to? I'd have to let me see. I'll check my calendar.
I'm talking to some people. Oh
well,
yeah,
like, you know, if you're I did a consulting thing for an associate, and she runs a thing called the Ambassadorial Roundtable, and it's really opened some doors. Instead of just talking just random people, she's trying to make it a little bit more smaller and more focused. And so she knows me personally, and so it's been great. Let's see. Okay, the Radovan Javrovic. He's the ambassador of Slovakia. So Slovakia's got a big push for technology and cybersecurity. They're going to do it by sector, it seems. You know, hospitals, banking, SCADA, ICT, IST type stuff. You know. But they're going to have a whole section of the country that's going to be a playground, basically, where they're going to basically have a budget to do the work in the first place, and then find these American and Western, let's say, mediums to implement. And you know, it's seems like an all around good thing. So and then it's
easy when you can nationalize a thing like that, you know.
Well, it's all dominoes, right? So like the GDRP thing in Germany, once that was like a thing, everybody else kind of followed in suit. So it's like once you have a very good, serious working AI model for cybersecurity that you can implement large scale across the whole domain, everybody's going to pick it up, because it's like, oh, hey, we tested it here, and then they just chat amongst themselves, and then it's like, okay, we want it. There's not a lot of debate, right? It's just like, yeah, we'll take it. It works, right? Yep. Okay. And then they have the salespeople talk to the salespeople, the analysts talk to analysts, and then it just kind of happens. It's like, it's kind of an odd but really cool way to do business.
Mm-hmm. No, I cyber's gotten so much. It's hyped up in the last 2-3 years. Mainly, like we're seeing cyber attacks in our MSP.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're realizing, okay, here's a company that has access to everyone else, right? So it's getting to that level where they're purposely attacking the providers.
Help me out here. It's a cybersecurity platform. They're based in Prague. It's free. They do it for free. Avast.
Okay.
Avast.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I don't trust those bastards, but
it's funny because the hackers use them, like Russian hackers and shit. They'll use Avast, because they need cybersecurity too.
Yeah.
I interviewed with them quite extensively, maybe in this is before COVID, so maybe 2020. And then they got to like the financials talk. They're like, well, what do you make now? And I was just totally honest. Here's what I make now. And they're like, oh, it's like, and then I was looking at like, they lose half their taxes in Prague, like social programs. Like Prague's really a great city. It's really nice. You can get anywhere, you can get around. But, like, they're not used to hearing salaries and I was not getting paid a lot back then,
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we can't. Sorry, man, we can't even.
Yeah.
Can't even get close.
I'm
like,
I was running a software firm at the time, and we were looking at outsourcing the Belarusian programmers for $20 an hour.
Right.
And we're like, well, yeah, every day, sure. We
Same
had to
with
just provide them what we needed them to do. They charge us like 17 hours or something like that. We're like, perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's the same with AI architects, right? So the company's based in Ruston, but they're outsourcing all their AI engineers to Pakistan or India. And it's like, so now I've never worked in business development until fairly recently, right? But now I have a checklist. Like I have to ask these companies, like, hey man, this thing is for a U.S. government entity, and the workers and the company has to be American. Is that possible, plausible? And most of the time I'm getting no.
Yeah.
It's like I and 4 of us are here in America. I'm in Reston. The other 3 are in Boston or whatever, and everybody else is overseas. I'm like, I think you got a really cool program, but I'm sorry guys, I just contractually can't do anything. So, but I appreciate it. Because the cost varies from $25 to $65 an hour engineer time.
Yeah.
A more plausible is $275 or $300 an hour, right, during the dev phase.
Especially if you're going to include company costs in that. So, like, you usually, whatever the salary of the employee that you want to have working for you at the times, it's by 3 for the company to make their overheads and get sales and everything else, all the support stuff.
And it's like things I didn't know until recently. It's like, wow, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to talk financial stuff, specifics with the person who's going to do the work. It's like, oh man. And then like, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I don't know. So then I, had a talk with everybody. Like, okay, what are the do's and don'ts of this sales thing? I'm like, okay, take a note. Won't happen again.
Yeah. One thing I've tried to make a steadfast thing in my career is never quote price if you can help it.
Yeah. And apparently it's one of the most important factors, but it's also the most quiet. Like, and it always happens last, and then it seems like everybody's always disappointed.
Yeah.
It's what's data actually worth? That's been a hard question to answer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess
But
like your Amazon and Microsoft are going to dictate a certain price hold as far as like hosting it, right?
Yep.
Now, is there a definition on protecting it?
Yeah. And then it's just, it's one of those things. It's weird. It's new. So
Mm-hmm. That's what's
Sorry.
good.
It almost seems like a natural progression of things anyway for me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? But that's been the hard part. There's value. The value is obvious, right? It's
Well, is it obvious though?
It's obvious to,
because there's a refrigerator manufacturer in, let's say, Dumbville, Idaho, that we never seen any type of cyber or whatever. We don't need to have any of this, and we just sell refrigerators or whatever it might be, refrigerator parts, something like that. Like who cares, right? So,
well, you could show you trends. That's the one thing for data that's not of value. It could still show a trend. It's like, what is the rubber and roads thing for China? So like, if China has a strategic plan, and that plan lists anything in the tech industry, like IoT devices, you're going to expect an IoT company is going to get hacked. Right?
Yeah.
If it has to do with oncology departments are going to get hacked. It can show trends, but so what I just triage. I'm going to try to be automated triage so that I can separate the wheat from the chaff. Yeah.
I'm not going to care about that soccer mom in Ohio. I'm going to care about this major organization with a law firm attached or something like that.
Unless it's credentials, right? So if it's actual username, password, pedigree information, right?
Yeah.
That has value. You can sell that in bulk to places like I don't sell to them, but have I been pwned, right? Maybe you have something that they don't, and then you could just negotiate a small price for that, hackers make a lot of money on it, so it has value, right? And that's one thing I learned. It's like, okay, it hit me one day. I was like, the places these guys are advertising the things that I have, but they're hackers. They're doing it illicitly. So I'm like, I'm going to use that model to sell my data, which has had some success. At least it started the conversation for, a plan, but who knows where it goes.
The only thing that really interests me in cyber, honestly, was the start of the Ukraine-Russian war and all that stuff, and Americans being angry at Russians and actually going in the opposite direction. I was just like, okay. Wish there was more of it. Wish it continued on.
Right.
But it's kind of fizzled out after we decided to hack all their television for a little bit, and then
which was pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anonymous, they got half of Anonymous has Op Israel, the other half has Op Palestine, right? So it's like the same organization is working against each other.
Yeah.
In a way, or different factions, because it's pretty loose. Op Russia is still going on. There's also a Op Ukraine. There's an Op Iran. There's an Op Sudan. Op Eritrea. It's like, yeah, guys, good luck. It's like there's only one major city in the entire country. They're running Windows NT and shit like that. So
yeah. NT was nice. Probably still secure nowadays. Yeah. Guy reverse the map. If you want real security, you gotta go to Windows 95. No one's gonna hack that.
Okay. Oh man. But yeah, dude. It's past midnight, so dude, good to see you as always.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay. I got nothing going on tomorrow, so I'm sure you got a lot of stuff going on, but
I won't in the afternoon. I'll be back here. I'll hit you up.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have a passive moment where you're trying to run away from family, feel free to get a hold of me.
You got it. All right. Okay. I'll do that.
Okay. Good
All right, guys. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I know this is kind of a random show for us, but hey, appreciate your time, and we'll see y'all soon, okay? All right.
Good day.
Later, everybody.